Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jewel Tolentino here. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the jobs that I've ever had. Alright, so when I meet new people, I often get asked the question, what was your experience to getting to where you are now? Like, you're this YouTuber, entrepreneur. How did you get to that place? Did you have any formal education? What kind of education? What kind of jobs did you have? What prepared you for where you are now? And I will say that almost all of the jobs that I've ever had did not directly prepare me for entrepreneurship and what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to start way back from the very beginning, and I'm going to list out all of the jobs that I've ever had up until right now. Okay, so let's go back to, I think it was grade 9 high school. And if you're from like British Columbia or Canada, they have this thing called Take Your Kids to Work Day, and I believe that it happened in grade 9 or 10. Definitely around there. Not grade 8 and not grade 11 or 12. It was 9 or 10. And it was Take Your Kids to Work Day. And since my mom worked graveyard shift, like at night, she would work from like 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. I had to go with my dad, and he worked at a fireplace factory. So at this fireplace factory, he had a specific job with manufacturing like a certain part of the fireplace, and it's like an assembly line type of thing. Everyone is doing one certain part of the fireplace or different models of the fireplace. And I was given the job. I can't believe they gave this to me like right off the bat with zero experience. They gave me a rivet gun and these small little rivets, and you put the rivet in the gun, and then I was to put these two pieces together, these two pieces of metal. And that's pretty much what I did the entire day for like 8 hours. I started at the same time as my dad and ended at the same time as him. So he left for work at like 6 something in the morning, would start at 7, and then we ended at like 3:30. So I pretty much did that for 8 hours, had lunch with him. Like, it was weird because I was pretty much the only girl like on the floor of the factory working with this rivet gun in the assembly line. Like, I was actually manufacturing stuff for the actual fireplaces. Like, they didn't give me some just joke job, just do this and get a feel for the experience. Like, I was actually manufacturing fireplaces. Then after that, in the summer of grade 11, my dad's work was offering like an opportunity for the people that worked there, if they had kids that were teenagers, they could bring them into work for 2 weeks because they had like a project for them. It was like a program for high school kids, and like they were actually going to pay us. So I was pretty excited because it was going to be a 2-week gig, and it was in the summertime. And they said that they were going to pay us. Now at the time, I thought it was, a lot of money because I was only pretty much getting like just an allowance weekly. But they said for 2 weeks that they were going to pay us $500. And if you think about it, that wasn't very much considering the amount of work that I did. And there were 2 other people. There was this other guy and this other girl, and we were all in high school as well, pretty much the same grade. And we worked Monday to Friday. We pretty much worked for like 5 days each week. So 10 days, Monday to Friday, like a full day work shift. So we pretty much did like 40 hours a week. So we did like 80 hours in total. And, I thought that I was going to be placed in the office when I got there, because I'm like, they're not going to make me work in the factory in the assembly line. I'll probably get some like secretary office job. So, I wore like these boots with a little bit of a heel. I wore nice black pants, a white collared shirt, like as if I was going to be working in an office. And then this other girl and this other guy, they all dressed up as well, and we were all being like formal and professional. And then they explained our job to us and what we would be doing. So they took us to this room with a whole bunch of metal shelves and a ton of boxes everywhere. Those boxes when you buy stacks of paper They're kind of like Xerox boxes, basically a room full of those. And what they explained to us was that we needed to take all of those boxes, and there were like hundreds of boxes. Take all of those boxes and line them up and put them on these pallets. And then when they would get to a certain height on the pallet, they would get a forklift driver and remove the pallet of boxes out of the room. We basically had to clear this room full of boxes. Now, they told us what we were doing in stages. So here I am on the first day, and I have these like boots on, like dress boots, dress shoes. And then they said when you get to the higher levels, you got to use like a ladder. And these boxes were not empty boxes. They were full of paper. They were full of documents or something, like records. They're paper records. And they were heavy. And we had to climb up on these ladders and pull them down and then bring them there. And I remember like I was getting blisters in my feet because if you know about wearing like dress shoes all day long and you don't give your feet a rest, like they're going to hurt. So I remember like the first day I was so tired and exhausted, me and the other two people, and we were like confused as to what this job was. And it was literally just taking boxes and putting them on the pallets for 8 hours. It took us a couple days to clear out the room. And then, we were like, yes, we're finished. And then we had to dismantle the metal shelves that were holding all of these boxes. So they gave us some tools, showed us a little bit, and they said, okay, take all these shelves down. So we took all the shelves down. And, we're progressing through the week. And then they said, okay, you're going to be in a new location. And then we're like, cool, we're excited for this new location. We get to the new location. And then they show us this room, a bigger room, and they say, you need to build all the shelves again, the ones that you took down. So then I understood what was happening. We were basically relocating all of these boxes of papers of records. So we had to rebuild all of the shelves, and then they brought in all of the pallets of boxes, and we had to re-shelve the boxes on those metal shelves. I felt like the movie Karate Kid when he's like getting him to wax the car, wax on, wax off. It was like one of those life lesson jobs. So I definitely learned about hard manual labor. They had no pity on us. They treated us like every other worker, which was fine because, it made me feel like I was one of the workers there. Definitely wasn't getting any special treatment. So that was my second job of manual labor. My third job was quite different. One of my family members takes care of seniors who don't have like a home and they're not in a nursing home. So she cares for these elderly women, and like as if they live there. So she feeds them, bathes them. Basically, it's like she's their caregiver, and she takes care of them because they don't have any family, and they live at her house. So she needed some help because she had like two senior citizen elderly women there, and she taught me how to bathe them and to make food for them. And when she would go and do some errands, I would be the one to have to give them a bath and feed them food, like make them food and stuff. And I did that for like a whole week. It paid much better than the fireplace factory job for sure. I got paid way more per hour, and the workload was lighter. It's considered, it was definitely something different because I had to bathe elderly people. I had to be mature and stuff, and take care of another person, and I'm like this teenager and take care of this person who's much, much older than me. So that kind of gave me a life's perspective. So I did that for about a week to help my other family member out. And then after that, a couple years later, I'm out of high school at this point for like a year maybe. I got my first sort of mainstream real job, which was at McDonald's. So I worked at McDonald's and I started off as a cashier. They put mainly the girls and stuff on cashier, and then they put usually the guys in the back cooking. And I will say that they do choose your position based on your looks. So it was mainly the girls up at the front and mainly the guys in the back cooking. So when I first started working there, it was exciting because it was my first job, and I would take orders and prepare the meals. And, after a while, I got kind of tired of it because I actually didn't really enjoy working up at the front. I thought it was really boring. And one day when I was off of work, I made a lot of friends there. I asked if I could go in the back and, make some burgers and cook some burgers. And they let me because, I was off shift and they weren't going to be paying me extra. So I was just kind of learning on my own time. And I asked, some of the people in the back to show me how to make the burger. And then I tried it out, and I actually much enjoyed working in the back. It was so much more fun, I guess, because I was using my hands more. I'm a person who likes to use my hands, and, making, assembling the burger was really fun because you put the bread in the toaster, and then when it comes out, then you have these ketchup and mustard guns or mayo gun or the other kinds of sauce guns, and then you put the onions and the pickles, and then you put the cheeses or lettuce or whatever toppings in the meat, and then you wrap it up. And I remember when there would be really long lines at lunchtime, I purposely wanted to be in the back in the kitchen. I wanted someone to order 20 burgers because I had so much fun making them as fast as I could. And it was just more of a fun game. Being on cashier was really boring for me. So after McDonald's, I worked at Starbucks, and I think I worked at McDonald's for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then I got kind of really mundane feeling, and it was no longer fun at all. And I decided that I needed a change, and my sister had gotten a job at Starbucks. So I decided to apply for a job at Starbucks. A different one, not the same one. Although we did work together at the McDonald's, and that was funny, working together with your sister. I would play pranks on her all the time. But anyways, I got a job at Starbucks, and at first I was happy and excited because it was different than McDonald's. Because after a while of working at McDonald's, you don't really feel like smelling like French fries after your shift. If you work there and you're in there for 8 hours, you need to take a shower after because you're gonna smell like the food and French fries. And it was just a certain kind of fast food smell that I did not like. So I was at Starbucks making coffees. I thought things were going to be different, but it's pretty much the same. The customers are different. They're on a different level. McDonald's customers and Starbucks customers are very different, but it's pretty much the same, except from smelling fries every day after work, it was now I smell like coffee every day after work. So I realized right away that okay, this is not much different. I need to have a complete change altogether. So I only lasted there for 8 months, less than a year, because it was too similar to McDonald's, and it wasn't a big enough change for me to feel like growth was happening in my life. So after that, I remember one day I was at Starbucks working a shift, and I openly said out, does anybody know of any jobs happening, any job openings? And this one girl actually responded, and she said, oh yeah, my friend's having some openings at an insurance company. And I was like, insurance? Well, what's her contact? Give her my name and I can give you my resume. And one thing led to another. And before I knew it, I was interviewing for this insurance job in downtown. I got the job with no experience at all. I had nothing. I knew nothing about insurance, nothing. And they hired me as a claims clerk / adjuster. And then I started working in downtown as a claims clerk. Now that was exciting in the beginning. I'd say the first year I was exciting because I was working in downtown, which I always love going to downtown. I didn't have to wear a uniform. I could wear like clothes, like office, like a dressier, casual dressy clothes, you know, like a collared shirt, some blazer, pants, pencil skirt. Like I could dress up like not in a uniform, not in a McDonald's uniform, not in a Starbucks uniform, because I got tired of wearing those kinds of uniforms. And the cool thing was I had my own office. I could sit down. If you have ever worked those kinds of jobs where you have to stand up for 8 hours, it takes a toll on your legs and your knees when you have to do that all day, every day. So for me to have a nice, comfortable chair, office chair that costs like, it was one of those ergonomic ones that's like $200-300, to have that, to go from that to that, was an amazing shift for me. I also had 2 computers, my own phone. I didn't have to ask anyone if I could go to the washroom. I could just go myself. Like no one was really hovering over me and watching and like making sure I was smiling every single time when a customer approached. So I worked at this insurance company for about 2.5 years until, depression started to kick in. If you guys want to know like the full in-depth story of that, I have another video where I'm explaining like what was happening to me mentally. Basically, I was going down and down, into a deeper depression, because I was totally unfulfilled with my life. And then I found this book, The Secret. The video explains exactly how it happened. But basically, that was the last job, the last 9-to-5 job I ever had. And then I decided I want to become an entrepreneur. Didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. Nothing. I just said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to create something for myself. Didn't know what kind of entrepreneur. So we literally tried every little thing that came our way. We said yes to everything. We put on these seminars, went to all these networking meetings, designed websites. We did so many things, and it gave us so much life experience that we now, at this point, after doing that for a while, we realized this is what we want to do and this is what we don't want to do. And I very much don't want to do a lot of the things that we did before. So it was definitely a crazy, great experience. Those are all the jobs that I've ever had that lead up until now. As you can see, they don't directly correlate with what I'm doing because, this wasn't even existed. Like, YouTube wasn't even created at the time. And like doing videos was a very foreign concept. What I did learn was hard work and manual labor is something that I can appreciate, but it's something that I do not want to do every day. Physically feeling like depleted and exhausted from standing on your feet all day, it made me not want to do that kind of stuff. So I wanted to create a job where I didn't have to rely on the time equaling like my hourly pay equaling what I'm going to get. So that is it for this video. I just wanted to share a little bit of my history and my background of all the jobs that I've ever had leading up until now. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Back from the dead.